Is it all worth it? Is it worth it, the time and expense, and it might end in failure?
Is our democracy worth it, Brian? Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. You know, this is about sending a signal. It's about holding those accountable who tried to undermine our country and our democracy.
Is democracy worth it? That was Democratic Attorney General Kris Mayes earlier this month responding to my question about whether she'd pursue the so-called fake electors case as she waited for a court ruling on an appeal. Well, that ruling came down this past week. It went against Mayes and her prosecutors. Kris Mayes must now decide on next steps, and that question again, is the fake electors case still worth pursuing? Joining us with some legal and political advice, Republican activist Tyler Montague and Democratic elections law attorney Roy Herrera of the law firm Herrera Arellano. Welcome back to Square Off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll start with you, Roy. Topic one, should AG Kris Mayes drop the case? A year and a half ago, she indicted 16 defendants on felony charges, including former Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, many Arizona players here. It was all in connection with their alleged role in trying to overturn the 2020 election results. She has not said yet whether she's going to appeal this latest ruling. Make the argument that Kris Mayes should press on.
Well, I start with what you started with, which is the question of, is democracy worth it? And I think it is. It is worth fighting for. And if you go back and look at what this case is about, what it's about are individuals in 2020 that try to subvert the will of the voters. And that's, ultimately that accountability for those actions is what I think Attorney General Mayes is searching for. So I think the argument is, we need to press for that accountability so it doesn't happen again going into this next election cycle. There's obviously questions about, is it an appropriate use of resources at this point? Should we focus on, other things? I mean, certainly, we're talking about looking at the future, focusing on the illegalities and unconstitutional actions that this Trump administration has taken is something that Attorney General Mayes is really doing. And she's been, amongst the most aggressive fighters for that and against that across the country. So I know she's going to focus on that and make a very deliberate decision on what she does with this fake electors case.
Best argument for going on, best argument for dropping it?
Well, a lot of time has passed since the events. And I think this case lost a lot of energy when Trump was reelected. And I think that has nothing to do with the legal side of it. I think the legal arguments are strong. I think there is a case here. I think they did do what was alleged, or at least there's a case for it. But in the political swim lane, people feel like, it's old news, we've moved on. Voters have validated that they wanted Trump in an actual election. What's the big deal?
Yeah, and if she did press on, it might not go to trial if it got that far until 2027.
That's right. It could take a number of years. And I will point out, I mean, this is not the only state where prosecuting these fake electors has run into some difficulty. And I think that's a reflection of the fact that our legal system just really hasn't been set up, I think, to sort of address this subversion of democracy, because we haven't seen it before until the 2020 presidential election. So, again, I mean, I think she was right for pursuing this from the beginning. Again, the laws can somehow make this difficult, and she's just got to make the best decision on whether the use of resources, which are limited, needs to go towards this or going to other things related to next year's election.
The political question, if she does withdraw, does it look like a defeat, gave in to her opponents, prove them right that this was weaponization of the law in the middle of her, as she heads into a re-election campaign?
They've been saying that all along, and so I think they will claim victory, and they will claim that that's what happened and that she lost and that they've been vindicated. I think that would be bad. I think that, if I were defending them, I would say, oh, it's just a contingency in case it was proven that Trump had really won, and that's what they've been saying. But, the John Eastman memos, the theory that they could subvert the election and that having these fake electors was a key component to doing so was a real conspiracy and really bad for the country. And so from that perspective, I think we should fight against that type of activity. So, but it's hard. It's politically hard.
Yeah. Tough decision, very tough decision. Let's move on. Topic two is House Speaker Mike Johnson slow walking Congresswoman-Elect Adelita Grijalva's swearing in to avoid a showdown with fellow Republicans over the Epstein documents. I do want to point out it is Friday. A swearing-in date could be announced. So far, it has not. Is he slow-walking this?
He certainly isn't in a hurry to get her vote into the mix, okay, because it's a very close vote to force release the Epstein files. And
she is the vote.
And she's the vote. And so he does not want that to happen. However, the canvass hasn't been completed. And so, from this election. And so there's a fair argument that it's inappropriate to swear her in until it is official. And it's not official until the canvass is done.
Well, I don't know if there's a deliberate delay related to Adelita Grijalva, the Congresswoman-Elect, but I do know he has been trying to slow walk any type of vote related to releasing the Epstein files at the behest of President Trump, who
But Trump was just an undercover FBI, working for the FBI in that.
Yeah, of course. But you know, Trump has been very clear. He does not want these things released. He's directed the Department of Justice not to release them. So we're in this position where I think Mike Johnson, the Speaker, is trying to do the bidding of the president as much as he can. But to your point, Tyler, I mean, Adelita will be the 218th vote, the majority of the House, to force a vote on the release. And so they're going to try to do that. But, just a couple months ago, they literally went into recess to avoid a vote on this. So this is just part of that.
And Adelita Grijalva, again, the first Latina to serve Arizona in Congress. Want to move on to our next topic, President Donald Trump issuing an executive order to dismantle, quote, domestic terrorism networks that he alleges are funded by left-wing groups inciting violence against conservatives. The Democratic Party, in Trump's mind, could be one of those groups. Is the Democratic Party getting ready for a legal assault by the Trump administration?
Certainly, and I think what is more likely, and I think the order spells this out, is trying to go after progressive-leaning nonprofit organizations, either by designating them as domestic terrorist organizations or trying to take away their nonprofit status. So certainly, I mean, on behalf of clients of mine that are in that space, we are certainly preparing for any of that, which again is absurd. I mean, just because you disagree politically with a nonprofit organization, labeling them as some kind of terrorist group is absurdity. And certainly if the roles were reversed and it was a Democratic administration going after conservative-leaning nonprofits, there would be outrage over that. And so what I am hopeful for is that if this does proceed, that the courts will step in. This is obviously all going to play out in front of courts, and the administration won't be allowed to do that.
Does this trickle down? We saw Jim Comey being indicted. We see this new investigation, which is likely to result in indictments based on what happened to Jim Comey. You don't need much to indict anymore. Is this likely to trickle down to the state level? Or even county prosecutors?
It could. They've been very willing to use their power to go after political opponents. I do think it is okay and worthy activity to go after actual crime. But as soon as you say that it's my opponents that are committing it, the peril is in interpreting who's a criminal and which groups are terrorists. I think Antifa, for example, has engaged in criminal, violent activity that should be stopped, but not because they are a member of the left or the right, but because what they do is criminal. So it's a minefield to start going after your opponents. And I think wise conservatives like Rand Paul, Ted Cruz have said, hey, do unto others. The tables will turn, and we would oppose this behavior. And that's the key to unlocking sanity.
Yeah. All right. Got to end it there. Tyler Montague, Roy Herrera, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That's our show for this week. Thanks very much to all of our guests. Thank you so much for joining us. See you back here next weekend for another round of Sunday Square Off.
Continue with us on 12 Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.